If you don't believe Al Gore, at least believe what's going on around you.
Like what?
Heat waves. Hurricanes. These are signs that the end is near.
What about blizzards and cold spells?
Those are just isolated weather events, and they have nothing to do with the climate.
So when it's unusually warm, that proves global warming, but when it's unusually cold, that means nothing?
Yes.
We are News New Mexico. Jim Spence is here. I'm Michael Swickard. Rachel Pulaski's here.
The better word is good.
Yeah, agreed.
So
good.
All right, Marita. So,
Marita Noon. If you're just joining us, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org.
So, Marita, you wrote a little story about what happened in Great Britain last year. They were literally freezing to death, and you cited one of the reasons why was self-imposed fuel poverty. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, in England last year, they had similar weather to what we're having right now in New Mexico, and it was very cold. And the people, the senior citizens of the communities, were really literally freezing to death. And so they were riding around on buses all day because they have free passes for the buses, and the buses were warm, and that's how desperate they were just to stay warm. And that was what they were facing, and because the restrictions on energy in England had made it such that they were really living in what the author of the article that I have referenced in the book called a fuel poverty. They didn't have enough energy and had to resort to riding around in the buses all day just to stay warm.
Yeah, another analogy you use when you see all of this green and pitches going on by the environmental movement to kind of make everything that they want to do in energy policy sound good. You compare it to like the kind of pitches you get when you're out house hunting. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. They use all kinds of grandiose terms that make you think it's going to be so much better than it is. For example, they'll say something like it's got a lot of potential.
I run
really
from that.
It's a wreck, or it's got great possibilities. That tells you that it's a serious fixer-upper. Great use of space tells you that it's really a little tiny place. And, so they use terms that give you a different idea than what it really is. And so the idea of these renewable energies and this free energy, they make us think that it's going to be easy and free and wonderful for us, when in fact, the renewable energies are intermittent, not available on demand, require certain conditions to work, and in fact are far more expensive than the traditional fuels that we're currently using.
And not dense enough.
Yes, that is true. I know that's what you like to talk about.
Well, no, it's the density. If New Mexico grid needs 2,200 megawatt hours of electricity each day, and you've got a 2 megawatt project, it's not,
it's just not even a drop in the bucket.
Well, the problem, of course, is sometimes the wind does stop blowing, and sometimes
that's even worse.
Sometimes I think, doesn't the sun go down sometimes?
Yes.
Yeah,
like half the time. Okay. So,
and then some of that time when it's up, there's clouds, like yesterday.
So let's talk real quick. Is CO2 a pollutant? Because we've gotten most of the mercury and lead out of these discharges. What about CO2? Is it a pollutant? Because it sure is the EPA's method of trying to shut down these power plants.
Well, the EPA would certainly, they've labeled it as a pollutant. They've declared that it is a pollutant. But that's what you and I exhale. That's what the plants breathe in. And an atmosphere with more CO2 makes a greener Earth, and the plants thrive.
I do like green. Marita Noon, EnergyMakesAmericaGreat.org. Thank you for what you do.
My pleasure.